Why does JavaScript local storage only store strings? Imagine you're trying to save a piece of data in your web browser so it's there when you come back later. You might think you can just save any kind of data, like numbers or objects. But here's the thing. JavaScript local storage only saves strings. Why is that? Well, it all comes down to how local storage was built and what it's meant to do. When web developers wanted a simple way to store small bits of data on the client side, they created local storage. It's part of the Web Storage Application Programming Interface, which is a set of tools browsers provide for web pages. The key idea was simplicity. Both the keys and the values stored in local storage have to be strings. This makes the whole system straightforward and easy for browsers to handle. Think about it like a basic notebook where you write down notes as words. If you want to store numbers or complex objects, you need to turn them into words first. JavaScript does this automatically when you save data to local storage. If you try to store a number directly, it gets converted into a string. But if you try to store an object, it turns into the string object, which isn't very helpful. To get around this, developers use a method called JSON serialization. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a way to turn objects and arrays into strings that can be stored easily. When you want to use that data again, you convert the JSON string back into an object with a method called JSON.parse. This process keeps the data structured and usable, even though local storage only deals with strings. The reason for this design choice is mainly about keeping things simple and fast. Storing only strings makes the API easier to implement across different browsers. It also helps avoid problems with different browsers interpreting complex data types differently. Since local storage operations are synchronous, meaning they happen right away and can block other tasks, keeping data as strings reduces the chance of errors or delays. Another reason is storage size. Local storage usually has a limit of about 5 megabytes per website. Storing data as strings makes it easier to measure and control how much space you're using. If you stored complex data types directly, it would be much harder to keep track of the size. So, when you're working with local storage, remember that you need to turn complex data into strings before saving. Use JSON.stringify to do this. When you retrieve the data, use JSON.parse to turn it back into a usable object or array. Keep in mind the storage size and handle errors like exceeding the quota. Because local storage is simple and quick, it's best for small pieces of data rather than large files or complex datasets. In summary, JavaScript local storage only stores strings because it was designed to be a simple, fast, and consistent way to save small amounts of text-based data across different browsers. Developers handle more complex data by converting it into strings with JSON methods. Understanding this helps you use local storage effectively and avoid common pitfalls when managing client-side data in web development.